never heard of the word being unlocked. Nothing. Never once in my life.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
That's weird that you've never heard of that, Dave.
Totally strange, I know.
Welcome back to the Jack of the Shadows podcast, episode 17.
17. Lucky number 17 said no one ever.
I'm Eric VC,
17.
and as always, I'm joined by my favorite missile in tow, Adam and Dave. Say hello, Adam.
I'm definitely missile. I cut him off. I don't want to be a toe.
I'll be the toe. Oh, no, I have toe.
Oh, he's got toe. Hey, wouldn't that have been funny if
toe.
you had meant that? Missile and toe.
Nah.
He did.
Right, of course, naturally.
Together, we're the VC boys, and for this episode, we read chapters 31 through 36 of A Crown of Swords. We'll dig into this eventful episode with our chapter summary and view from Dragonmount, followed by a conversation about our favorite moment and what shook your Willow.
Little did you know, young Skywalker, you'd wear a crown of swords.
Next, we'll address one of the more significant moments of the book with Nynaeve Unblocked, followed by a conversation about where the Amerlin seat of Tower 1 is headed in bold-faced Elaida.
Bold-faced liar.
I like a bolder face, Elaida.
Elaida.
Meant to be, we'll cover a little prophecy and some romance.
And
then we'll look at our protagonist with the ever-popular Get Randy before wrapping up with our Coplin of the week and Who Leveled Up.
Who leveled up?
So, without further ado, let's launch into our view from Dragonmount, which started with Chapter 31, Mashiara, and the Wheel of Time glyph.
There's no intro there.
Nope, no intro
telling
there
us
this
to
week.
Strap on our hiking boots.
Yep.
No.
No
Get ready to
strapping
climb.
on, no,
Happy
none of that stuff. Just
There's no
straight
warning.
into the meat and potatoes.
Right. He's just,
Man, just go there and be at the top.
Eric's giving
Right.
us no foreplay.
Right
Just
into the
jumping right in.
fruitcake.
We're just right at the top.
Right into the fruitcake.
Yep.
Whatever that means.
So-
Yeah, we're just in the thick of the fruit.
In
Right.
to the fruitcake.
Chapter 31 begins with
Sounds
Nynaeve. She's been chosen by the Ibudar 3 to go visit the sea folk, and once more
Ibudar
is on
3.
her way. Well, she's going to visit the sea folk, so she's on her way,
To the spray.
and we finally get that moment of Mogedion attacking her boat that I was wondering about last episode.
Yes. And indeed it is her.
Yeah, which only made sense. My only quibble was we haven't had the actual moment from Nynaeve's POV, and here it
Well,
is.
Just like he's wont to do.
Ask and ye shall
Forward
receive.
and backward. Forward and backward.
Oh my gosh! So the boat gets caught in the boat gets cut in half. She sinks to the bottom of the river. She gets caught in the ship's cabin at the bottom of the river, and she's about to die before she surrenders to her fate and breaks her block. So she uses the power to break a hole in the ship and tries to swim to the surface. Before she can, she's not going to make it, but before she can drown, a man helps her to the surface and then onto the sea folk ship. The man turns out to be Lan.
Just
None other.
some man.
That dude.
He's just a guy.
Lan's back. Lan arrived in
Guess who's
Ibudar
back?
that day and has been told at the
Back
palace
again.
and was told at the palace where Nynaeve was headed. So Lan tells Nynaeve that Muriel holds his bond, and Nynaeve bursts into a tantrum of rage, slapping Lan.
It makes it. It
that's
makes
about
it.
right.
Lan
Well-founded.
represents this as being something so simple of why he is there.
Right.
Because I
know.
was trying to get here.
Yeah.
I was
traveled-
tring to get to you, so here I am.
Travel cross
Like, well,
country
why didn't
for
you do
weeks.
that beforehand?
Because
Right?
he was
Why haven't you
moping.
done this months ago?
He was moping.
Right? Yeah. He
Well,
was.
he was
He was
also
moping.
canoodling.
He was getting over the death of somebody by falling into the arms of Muriel.
Knurdlich.
Canoodling.
Lan tells Nynaeve that Muriel holds his bond, and Nynaeve
Right,
bursts into
we-
a tantrum of rage and slaps Lan, and then Lan tells her that the reason why he's avoiding her is because his despair and imminent death would... Oh, no. She asks him, or she suggests that he should be her warder, and he talks about how being somebody's warder is a bad deal because his imminent death would be bad for her. He then calls Nynaeve his Mashiara, hence the title of the chapter. Nynaeve,
What was the
So
symbol
sweet.
for this chapter?
the Wheel of Time glyph.
Time glyph.
Nynaeve tells Lan she will have him as a warder and husband and refuses to let him die. And then Lan tells Nynaeve that he saw her attack and it must have been balefire. Nynaeve concludes she was attacked by Moghedien, but Lan tells her that in his presence she should never be afraid. Nynaeve realizes her block is gone, but not her seasickness.
Wah, wah.
Way to go.
Apparently Lan can deflect balefires. Don't be concerned about that.
Does anyone believe that Nynaeve has been unblocked?
Yes.
Yeah.
You think it's just going to be... I guess she did prove it a little bit.
She's proved it, and there have been conversations. Remember when she was in Saladar working on her block, she was told that once you break it, it's done.
Yeah, here.
You don't have to worry about it again.
Game on.
We return to the day of the Festival of Birds, and Elaine gets her revenge as she brings the other Aes Sedai to the House of the Kin.
Fantastic.
Elaine has a very satisfactory interaction with the maid Sidora, and then Rihanna, who mistakenly addresses Marililla as the first as the leader in the room, and not Elaine. Rihanna eventually addresses Elaine and begs her for forgiveness.
Well, maybe not me.
Elaine then tells Rihanna and the rest of the kin in the room that she wishes to bring any woman who can channel under control of the tower. Control, interesting word. Rihanna, Ivara, and Samiko are overcome with emotion. When Elaine asks Rihanna how many of the kin there are, Rihanna replies that there are 1,783 names on the roll.
No small number.
Yeah, it's like twice the number of Aes Sedai.
1,700 starts with 17. Our podcast number.
Elaine then moves on to pressing on to where the Bowl of Winds is, and Rihanna acknowledges the existence of a catch just before someone channels below. Matt then enters and informs Elaine he's found the cache.
Hey, so who was it that channeled below? I don't know that we ever found that out.
I mean, somebody who any one of the
what were they doing
kin,
because Matt came up anyhow.
Matt comes storming in through the door.
They wouldn't have been able
one
to
of the
stop him.
1,700.
Right.
That's probably what it is. They channeled at Matt and it just bounced off him.
Yep.
And he's like, "So long, sucker."
Bing.
Bing, bang, boom.
Right. Goulet.
Chapter 32.
Bing, bang,
sealed
boom.
to
Beep,
the
boop,
sealed to the flame of Tarvalon glyph. Elaida dreams of Rand being subjugated to her. She has eliminated the Blue Aja and cast out the rebels who must work for readmission.
I wasn't really
She
worried
sees
about
Romanda
reading
birched
that.
and stilled.
No.
Yeah, I mean, but about like a paragraph in, I was like, okay, well, this is obviously a dream.
The beginning of it, though, I first started, I'm like, what?
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
me too, because of how time has been moving
I don't know,
around.
have we
Right,
jumped
sure.
forward again?
Yeah. Egwene then begs for mercy, and Elaida grants it to her, but
That was a
reduces
spot-
her to a novice and requires her to swear fealty to the Amerlin seat on the Oath Ride.
That was a spot where I definitely
was at
knew
that
it
point
was-
you're like,
it
this
was-
is
this is
this
most
is
definitely
BS.
Egwene. Egwene is not begging for diddly squat.
So Alviarin wakes Elaida and informs her that that
She'd be begging
Corvala
for Rand.
Baldine has arrived with news of Dumai's Wells just 7 days past.
How great was it? I mean, we don't like Alviarin and we don't like Elaida, but I love every instance where Alviarin is giving it to her, like how she wakes her up from the dream.
Yep.
And Elaida's like, "What?" She's like, "Nothing."
Kavarla tells Elaida that she has to return with only 12, or that she has returned with only 12 Aes Sedai of the 39 she had departed with. This is the biggest disaster since the Trolloc Wars. So good on you, Elaida.
Yeah.
Elaida resolves to attack the Aiel, who are holding the Aes Sedai. Elaida is disappointed to learn that Galena has not had Gawain killed.
Right.
She sends Kovarla and her contingent of Aes Sedai to the small nearby town of Dorlan. Elaida then finds herself in conference with Alviarin, who informs Elaida that she has missed the news that several hundred Ashaman were at the battle.
Disaster number 2.
Elaida tells Alviarin to write out orders for Tovann, the 50 Aes Sedai, and 200 Tower Guard, who are headed to the Black Tower. Uh-oh.
Don't
No
think
big
that's
thing.
going to go well.
Alviarin seems pleased with the debacle Elaida has put herself in, as she points out to Elaida that there's no way that news could reach them in time. Alviarin offers Elaida the only way out, to abandon the lost Aes Sedai and increase the tower guard. She goes on to suggest
feeling it.
She goes on to suggest searching Josane and Adalorna's rooms for the Angreal they have taken and punishing them stiffly. Lastly, she suggests rewarding Doraine, Kyoshi, and Farrellane as models of preserving the law. Alviarin's advice will obviously cause a stir between the Ajas. That's clearly the goal of this.
Yes. She's going so extreme.
Alviarin then tells Elaida that she wants Elaida to state that she will do as she's told, which Elaida eventually does. Before she leaves, Alviarin suggests the tower openly calls Rand to heal. After Alviarin leaves, Elaida begins to plot Alviarin's demise. We then join Alviarin, who thinks on the fact that she's known for a few days the information that she gave to Elaida, 5 to be specific, and what has happened to Rand. Alviarin has learned about Demise Wells through Missana, whose plans she has just started. She's confident Elaida will be deposed in a matter of weeks.
Weeks.
The following day, Elaida goes to visit Cian and asks her to search for evidence of treason against anyone, including Alviarin.
Huh. Weird.
Cian then goes.
By the way, you might want to check Alviarin.
All the way up to and including and necessarily surrounding the speaker and no one else.
But not me.
Cian then goes through a clearly divided tower to visit her old friend Pavara. Cian tells Pavara that she has concluded Elaida wants her to look for the Black Aja.
Not quite what she meant, but this could get interesting.
So now we've got
kidding.
2 other women looking for the Black Aja.
I mean,
every couple of books we need 2 Aes Sedai looking, or we need Aes Sedai looking for the Black Aja in the tower. It's just a recurring
because they still
story.
can't believe it. They still can't even mention its name.
right. It gets easier to talk about once you say it the first time, though, Adam.
Pavara says it's clear to her the Black Aja can lie, so they should begin by looking through the records for indication of a sister that has taken action and lied about it.
This is going to get weird fast.
She suggests they pay particular attention to the last year because the Black Aja would want to take advantage of the rebellion in the tower.
Has it been that long? The rebellion's been going for that long? Seems less. I just lose sense of time.
Well, yes, I mean,
especially because we're not really spending that much time there.
Well, we bounce around with time too. I mean, it's very hard.
Yeah.
That takes us to chapter 33.
It's so hot.
A bath
to say goodbye.
A bath.
with the dragon banner.
One bath.
Rand sits sulking in his rooms. He's disconcerted and has had a hard time eating or sleeping.
Oh, poor Rand.
He's been this way for days since dismissing Perrin. In his boredom, he keeps checking on 2 Terangrial he's retrieved from Rhydian and hidden in his room. They're figurines holding up a crystal sphere, one a man, one a woman. Rand keeps nervously reaching out to touch them while whispering to himself that they belong to him.
They're mine. They're mine.
Does this remind you of any fantasy storyline?
Yeah, no kidding.
But slightly different.
Rand dreams of Colavir, his argument with Perrin, attacking the White Tower with Ashaman, that Alviarin's letter was a lie, and he sees her standing with Elaida beside Egwene, the Ashaman destroyed by women who had years of tutoring by the tower. And then Rand is startled, calling for Lews Therin without a response.
Yep.
On the 4th morning, he meets with Min, who seems to be the reason for his reclusiveness these last few days.
He doesn't meet with her. He's very surprised that she's there.
She's let in.
She meets with him. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, she meets with him because he thought that she was
the
just a
audience
vision or another.
that he denies. Right.
She's there on a rescue mission because Alana has sensed his miserable state and Nandera is concerned about his appetite. Min invites Rand to dance, and Rand goes into a morose diatribe about how he took her to bed the last time they spoke.
I'm a terrible person. I ravaged you.
Min then corrects Rand of his misconception that she had no choice in their lovemaking whatsoever.
The tapping foot taps louder.
Caretaking? What was it called? Caretaking?
Comforting, Adam.
Comforting, not caretaking.
She can't look at that word the same ever again.
He then proposes to send Min to a safe place. Min scoffs at the idea of being sent away for safety when Rand keeps maidens about him, and Rand tells her he doesn't love them. To keep Min at bay, Rand admits to
About
loving
time we got
Elaine and
that straight.
Avienda as well.
That's so cruel.
He
But
just
he's trying to do it still.
keeps
He's just
trying to
keep
push her
everyone
away, and she's having none of it.
Yep. But
Good.
Min's unperturbed and tells Rand she loves him as well, and so does Elaine.
And she's
She
got a
also
shank.
tells him she won't leave. Oh, yes, and we get another bottom smacking comment.
Oh my gosh. I
And
think
Min's
there were
like,
two.
really?
Yeah.
Say that again.
Min
That's
tells
my
Rand
Friday night.
Bear Elaine has told her she feels that Rand needs to visit the Sea Folk because he is to fulfill one of their prophecies, and Rand agrees to visit them today. And then asks Min to tell him
You know
of
what?
viewings she's had and been keeping
Congratulations, Rand.
About time.
Way to go.
We've been
Way
hearing
to
about them
make
for
that
like 2
choice.
books. And he's
Yes.
finally going to visit them.
from him. Yeah. She tells him of seeing Rand and another faceless man touch each other and merge into one another, and one of them dies and the other one lives. And Rand takes this as confirmation that he's merged with Luce Theron and come out victorious because he can't get Luce Theron to talk over the last 4 days.
I can't get you out of my head.
I'm not sure that's the right conclusion to draw from
I don't
this.
know that it
I'm
is
sure
either.
that it is not.
Rand put that conclusions mat out and he hopped all over it.
I know. And he mentions it. He like thinks about it and mentions it later. It's
Right,
like,
yeah.
oh,
He's like, no, of course it's true. Min had a vision.
Rand calls for a bath in advance of visiting the Sea Folk.
Let the bath
This
be
bath,
wholesome.
Min says
My
she will go
goodness.
with him.
this bath was a mighty scene.
It was, especially for Min. She was enjoying every moment of it.
I know.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
That takes us to chapter 34, Ta'Veren.
Adam, you know, she
With the
feels
stars
as,
and
she
seagulls.
feels as forward as a
With the
as
star
a
and seagulls.
someone or something or other that what is it that what's her face says?
It doesn't.
I don't know. She
If you
feels
don't-
as forward as a prancing pony.
No,
a goat
but
that's just been milked.
Right. What is it that what's her face says?
I don't
Fail.
know.
I feel as forward as a something or other on harvest night.
Oh, I
Rand,
wish I-
Rand
I
heads
wish I
out to
knew.
visit the Sea Folk with
dandelion.
Dashiva, Flynn, Narishma, and Dobrain in his retinue, along with Aes Sedai and some spear maidens.
I like me some Dobrain.
He notices that Varen and Karuna are missing.
Me too.
Varen seems to be in the Aiel tents, questioning prisoners, and Karuna is consulting with Soralea.
How weird. Varen's off doing what Varen does, which is what no
I
one
know.
knows.
Varen is so.
Right. Varen is
fascinating.
off doing what Varen does, which is gathering information all around and not sharing it with anyone
Not
else.
sharing.
Yeah, and being mysterious, knowing
Very,
everything, and then
very
just being
mysterious.
Also, looking at people kind of haughtily,
Right. And
But but in a way that doesn't come across as
non-threatening.
all that.
more
haughtily.
like she's going to eat them. It's the infamous sparrow to a worm thing.
Yeah, she goes a lot.
That I don't like that woman. She goes a lot.
She does.
That seems like a Nynaeve thing to do.
No, that's very true.
Or maybe Elaine, too.
Rand then
Oh
puts,
yeah, no, maybe Varen goes.
Yes, that's more like it.
Yeah, that's definitely
like
Those
she's
other two
Gil.
are definitely
like she's pondering it. Yes, she's definitely thinking about it.
or she's the Chamberlain, right? Yeah. Rand then puts Marana in charge of the embassy, which goes against the Aes Sedai taboos of putting the strongest person in power
The Aes
or in
Sedai
the
like
lead.
to booze.
And on the way to the Sea Folk ship, Rand thinks on the mission to these people and the prophecies that say he will bring together people of every land. On the way,
Create a
Rand
nation.
wonders if he can begin loosening the oaths of the Aes Sedai and start trusting them. Rand meets Marine Dinto Gara Two Winds and is joined by Aes Sedai and Ashaman. Marine introduces Rand to Shalom, the
Shalom.
Windfinder, and Dara, the sail mistress. Rand's
I love
invited.
these.
Rand's invited to the Wave Mistress's cabin alone, but he chooses to take Min, Dashiva, Marana, and Raphella after Marana suggests to Rand that he might lose bargaining power if he doesn't have some women who can channel with him.
Strangely enough, no
Yeah?
one took their tops off.
Oh.
I thought there were.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was going to
No,
happen.
they don't do
but
that.
they weren't out
They
onto the
don't-
sea.
They
Right.
do that when they go out in the sea. Some of
Well,
them
they
do
were
it
in
when
the
they're
sea,
just working
technically.
No, they're in the
Actually-
bay. They don't do it until they're
I mean,
far
bay is
away
part
from
of the
land.
sea.
No, it's the bay.
The bay is part of the sea. He is correct.
I am 100% correct.
During
yes.
the interaction between Rand and Harina, we get a couple of moments of Ta'Veren influence as Harina gives away more than
Love
she
it.
wishes wishes a couple of times while making the bargain.
She gave away
I love how
almost the
surprised
ship.
she was after everything she said. She was like,
just
"What?"
kept saying it. She couldn't stop herself.
Min reassures
And she was
Harina-
also aware that was what was
Right.
taking place.
She was
Oh, that would be so
flabbergasted.
frustrating.
Yeah.
Min reassures Harina that she will be punished for how she handles the bargain, but not as severely as she thinks. And Harina will still rise to mistress of the ships one day.
Not a bad deal.
No kidding.
So that bargain she made, doesn't affect her in the end. Whatever that bargain is, we still have yet to find that out. And we still have yet to find out the
What do
other
you mean?
bargain.
What do you mean? The bargain is the bargain that they strike with Rand.
We don't know what
We don't
the
know the
bargain is.
details
right,
of it,
yeah,
correct.
just like we don't know the details of the other bargain that happened when the girls were on the boat.
Right.
Well, that's
we
a
know
good
it.
point.
We know it wasn't great.
Right, I know. I'm curious to what the price they have to pay.
Right. They
That-
gave up something they didn't
that-
want
that-
to, and
that
that's still out
Egwene
there.
apparently is going to be ticked off about.
Rand
It's
requests.
just going to be they have to go serve them for 5 years at some point in their life.
Rand requests ships as transport for men and supplies. News from Terabon and Aradoman and the lands between. News from Tanchico and Bandar Eben. News from the Shanchan's arrival.
Tanchico, that hotbed of activity.
And Harina tells Rand that the sea folk ship that travel out into the Aerith Ocean disappear now.
Uh-oh.
Yep, that's not good news. Rand
I know.
considers
This
that
is
the
what I think.
Shanchan may
This
have
is,
returned.
This is what the bargain's going to result in is a lot of missing ships.
Well, we know who they are. So,
Yep.
I mean, we already know they're back. No one else does, but... Oh,
Nope.
Well, a couple people do.
no. Yes.
A couple dead people.
Queen
well, yeah,
does.
right. They just are missing.
No, the
arms and
Panarch.
legs.
Well, the Panarch, definitely. She's enslaved to them. The king's dead. And, well, what's-her-face knows. Elaine's mom,
More gays.
Morghese. And don't forget Balwer.
Rand considers that the Shanchan may have returned already, despite his belief it would take them years to recover from the battle in Tanchico.
Couldn't have gotten that more wrong.
Rand leaves after addressing
Yeah,
the
that's
sea
a big.
folk roughly.
That's a big miss on his part.
Yeah.
That's
Miscalculation?
problems.
Yeah, definitely a miscalculation.
Major problems there.
Marana
He was too
requests
big
that
for his britches.
Marana
Bridges.
requests that Rand remain and use his Ta'Veren influence, but Rand refuses to stay.
Can't be boxed up. Can't be boxed up.
Outside the cabin, Rand asks Min if she would like to see him settle the rebels. Which
Yeah.
takes us to chapter
Would
35.
you like to see this?
Weren't you just talking about too
pulls his-
big for his britches? And that's, yeah.
Well,
He was feeling himself and not good.
Which takes us to chapter
Definitely not
35,
good
Into the
results.
Woods with the Dragon's Fang.
careful.
Interesting. So what is the dragon's fang supposed to represent
Children
here?
will listen.
The Dragon's Fang represents dark friends, Ashaman, and false dragons. Rand
first
in
girl.
disguise and Min sneak from his bedroom through a gateway to a wood about 8 miles outside Cairhien. They encounter the lady Caroline Damodred, one of the rebel leaders outside of Cairhien. Caroline,
Nice person to encounter. What a meeting.
well, remember, Rand
Yeah.
is feeling his Ta'Veren nature at work, and so he does
Sure
this
is.
with the hopes that something like this will happen.
Everyone will succumb to it. Nope.
He's just throwing it out there,
Yeah.
which is
Um,
interesting because about time.
Well, maybe
About
he
time
shouldn't. Doesn't
to
do
do what?
squat.
Well, it got him going at being confident enough to go out and talk to the sea folk. And now he's going to making this decision, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Caroline asks Rand about the rumors that she's heard about him, and Rand tells her he's not bowed to the Aes Sedai, and he intends to put Elaine on the lion and sun throne.
I could
So,
almost allow
Some
my
of the
cousin
things
to
she's
become
heard are
queen.
true. Caroline
It's
says that she
amazing
can
how
accept
fast
Elaine
she
on the
figures
sun
out
throne.
who he is.
Yeah. Yeah. She's a smart cookie.
She
Yeah,
sure
she's
is.
smart, and the thing that we forget, because the book doesn't mention it all the time, is Rand is very tall. He's like 6'7", and has really big shoulders. Now,
And the red hair.
right, and the gray
I am-
eyes.
I thought he was like 6'4".
6'6",
No.
I say. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
6'6". Okay,
He's
that's very tall.
Yeah, he's really big.
Yep.
He's big, and he looks
And
like
his eyes.
well, right, because he looks like an Aiel, and he's tall for an Aiel even. So he's a huge dude. So it's not that amazing
That is
that
true.
she recognizes him. What's more surprising is that he thinks that with his size, he can simply put on some different clothes and somehow not look like who he is.
Oh man, yeah, he was very confident in this whole thing. Yeah,
Carline says that she can accept Elaine on the Sun Throne, but not Rand's presence in Kyrian because of his Taveran nature and how it affects everybody around him and all the deaths that his effect on the pattern causes.
But Min contrasts that.
no
Min
kidding.
contrasts
Here
that-
comes Min.
Right, with a little bit of
Min.
philosophy, and she does point out that that there is a balance there, but they sort of laugh at
She
her
comes
and
back
her
with the 1-2 punch.
and her. Well, she does, but they don't take her seriously,
that's their
unfortunately,
problem.
because she's
When
been
she
reading
also was like, "Hey, I've
Herod
read some
Fell's.
stuff."
Yeah, she's been reading from Herod Fell's books.
Oh,
They're
Fel.
like, "These books don't have pictures in them."
Darlin Cisnera then arrives with an
Large
entourage.
words.
Carline introduces Rand and Min to Darlin as her distant cousin Tomas and J.C. Tricond.
JC.
JC.
Rand tells Darlin he's heard the man was in Tyr in Haddon Merk. Carline tells Rand that Darlin has only recently arrived by longboat with some of his close friends.
I love the fact that Rand just throws out that he knows where the guy's been.
Yeah, yeah. Rand is
He's like-
being
He's
very
like,
brazen
I'm
here.
a cousin, but
Right.
by the way, I know where you've come from.
Right,
what
I
you
know
think.
a lot.
I have way more knowledge than I
Right.
should have.
Right,
I've slept with your wife.
right. And Min is sitting there going, shut up, shut up.
Oh,
shut
so
up."
she's also kind of like, wow, this is. I mean, I love him.
Darlin,
Darlin-
a tall, handsome lad.
Darlin
He's
further
very
informs
tall.
Rand that the Aes Sedai had approached him and Carline to inform them that Rand might soon be taken by the tower.
Taken by the tower.
He says they had gathered to try to put Carline on the Sun Throne before Colavir could take it. Now, however, with Rand back on the throne,
think
they
it's
sit
just
and wait on
Caroline.
his
It is
next.
just Caroline. It's okay. Semantics. Onwards we go.
Yeah.
I like Caroline.
I don't.
Well, I definitely like Caroline better.
I can't imagine why.
Anyway, Darlin is talking about the reason that they're there still, even after Rand has arrived, and he basically says they're sort of stuck there waiting on Rand's move because they can't leave because he has asked Caroline to marry him,
C4.
and she doesn't want to leave. Min has a viewing that Darlin and Caroline will marry after Caroline leads him on for a good while. Darlin
But
will
then
also
there's
go
a
on to become a
crown.
king of some unidentified land because he's from Tyr, and Tyr doesn't have kings. They only have high
Interesting.
lords.
Interesting.
Darlin notices that Rand and Min have no horses and gives them the horses of Rover and Inez so that they may
Well,
ride
no,
back
he's
to
like
camp.
he actually says, "Oh, you've lost your horses," when
Right.
he knew clearly that they never had horses.
Right.
Allow me
funny
to fetch
comment
some
there.
for you from the grumpy-faced
Yeah,
woman.
here you go.
Caroline holds Min back so she can watch and see what happens
You're walking
with the
peasants.
conversation between the two men. Darlin engages Rand by way of disparaging what the Dragon Reborn has done in Tyr, and then leads them into an enormous tent once they arrive at his camp.
The giant silk tent.
His enormous
The
silk
biggest tent you've ever seen. Oh yeah, what is that you mentioned, Dave? What is it made out of? I
Silk.
can't believe it's silk.
It would be
Yeah.
so hot.
Ugh,
That tent
Okay.
would be so hot.
in the middle of a forest.
Rand and Min wander through Darlin and Caroline's courtiers. Min
Imagine
sees,
the worms just eating it. Nibble, nibble, nibble.
nibble, nibble,
Sorry.
nibble.
Nibble, nibble.
Min sees a hatchet-faced fellow and has a viewing that leads Min to tell Caroline not to trust the man because he will kill anyone.
David Hanlon.
No. Not only kill other things
Raping,
that are probably
pillaging.
worse than
David
plundering.
Hanlon, yes.
yeah. Ugh.
Rand says that he has heard of the White Lions, who David leads, and
Those
suspects
guys.
that there are many dark friends amongst them, as they have remnants of Ravine soldiers.
Not good.
Rand asks Min about another man.
So maybe that's why the dragon's fang.
Yeah, that would make sense.
There we go.
Rand asks Min about another man and his odd companion, who turns out to be Torum Ryoton and his advisor, Geral Mordeth,
Oh, boy.
who is, in all actuality, who, Adam?
Oh, yeah. No. And Rand just casually says it.
Rand casually
Says what?
Well,
right,
no,
that
he doesn't
guy is-
casually say it.
No, he tells
explains who it
Caroline
is.
later.
Right.
Pod and Fane.
More on that later.
TBD.
Caroline reveals that since the arrival of Mordeth, Torum hates Rand with a passion.
Strange.
Right, yeah. Rand tells Caroline that Mordeth is Pod and Fane, and he has a bounty of 100,000 golden crowns on his head.
Queens have been ransomed for less than that.
Then who should appear but Codswain Malydrin?
My word.
Before
woman.
Caroline can escort Rand away, Torum
She is
appears
there,
and tells
and she
Rand that he
takes
is going to
charge.
marry Caroline.
She's the. You know what? She's like Varen. She's everywhere.
Yes, she
I'm
is very
surprised
much
Varen's
like Varen.
not here.
Well, the two of
Yeah,
them
you're
can't
right.
be
She
anywhere
totally
close
is
to
like
each
Right.
other, otherwise they'll break the space-time continuum.
Exactly. They're like
They'll learn too much at one time
They're
that
yin
everything
and
just
yang.
becomes a black hole.
Right. Torum looks around for Geral, and the man seems to have disappeared.
weird.
Bran learns from Darlin that the High Lord takes exception to the Aiel in Tyr, and now that he has been branded a traitor, he feels that he feels that he has to see this resistance through. So you get the sense that Caroline and Darlin are really in a situation that they would rather not be in. That they feel like they've been caught up in a momentum that they simply can't stop. Torm notices the blade at Rand's side and asks him if he would like to duel.
Care for a duel.
Which takes us to our last chapter for this episode, and that's chapter 36, Blades, with the Ruby Dagger. Hey, the Ruby Dagger.
Gosh, the ruby dagger.
Ryoton clears a way for the duel, and Caroline tells Rand that there are 7 Aes Sedai in the tent, and 4 of them are Red Aja,
I love the fact
recently
that
arrived on their way to Tar Valon.
he keeps saying, "I'm going to marry you," and she's like, "Shut up, you fool."
Yeah, she's not going to marry
She's
him.
having none of it. Well, we already know she's marrying the other guy, but
Right.
he's hellbound on it.
Yeah, and he's also huge.
Yeah, and very good looking apparently.
Yep.
Well,
Caroline,
except for his nose.
No, that's
Oh no,
that's
no,
Darlin.
Yeah.
it's Darlin.
Darlin.
He's just good looking all over.
Caroline tells Rand that Ryoton is dueling him in jealousy of her, and he is a blade master. The duel
should be
begins, and a
interesting.
little way in, someone screams, and the tent launches into the air. Fog begins to creep into the area where the tent was. Torum touches Rand with the practice sword, and then the fog picks up a red Aes Sedai and launches her into the air.
And then her head's gone.
I don't think it
Ryoton-
would. Oh, jeez.
Ryoton
I don't think
stalks
he
off
just
shouting
touched
after Geral.
Rand.
Yeah, he whacked
He
him.
gave Rand a real good whack.
I think it was an
Yeah.
unfair whacking. I think it was a cheater's whack.
Codswain calls Ryoton to silence and leads a group of people through the fog.
Look here, shut up, you.
Rand follows Codswain into the mist, and the mist is a horror of screams and disembodied
We're all of a
people.
sudden in a Stephen King book.
Yep.
Arms, legs.
Trunks.
Entrails. Codswain occasionally launches streams of fire into the mist. A woman running toward them is nearly eaten by the fog before Rand shoots balefire at it and reveals himself to Torum.
Oops.
Torum runs off, and Darlin calls after him until he realizes who Rand is.
Not before Rand
Did
gets
Rand do
slapped.
it, or did someone else do it?
No, Rand got slapped by Codswain.
Codswain then slaps
Well, yes. No,
Rand
no,
and
no,
tells
I know
him to
that.
never use balefire again.
Never you do that again.
Another woman tells Rand this. Maybe he will learn this time.
Don't think so.
Yeah.
And
Don't
then
think so.
Podden Fane leaps out of the mist holding a knife
The other
or a
side-
dagger with a ruby hilt on it.
Let me just tell you, these chapters can be very difficult to pick who I hate most. I'm just going to say that right now.
He cuts Rand with the dagger. A mere flesh wound.
He's had worse.
Darlin then lunges at Fane before the scrawny man heads back into the fog.
Oh,
Or the
giggling. Giggling.
His-
Cackling. Yeah.
Kind of like that.
That was
giggle.
pretty good.
Yeah, that was.
I like that.
It was unhinged.
Yeah, that's Mr. What was it? Mr. Jiggles?
Mr. Giggles.
Mr. Giggles. Yeah. Oh man, I haven't
Mr.
seen that in a
Giggles.
while.
Rand lies down, eyes closed and overheating in Min's arms as Samatsu tries to heal Rand. Samatsu senses something is wrong and then tears open Rand's coat to see that the cut is not bleeding, but still there. It hasn't closed up.
I just need to take his shirt off for a moment.
And she thinks that if they had not acted sooner, Rand would probably be dead by now and probably will eventually die. Cat Swain leads the group into the fog
Great
once
scene.
more with Darlin
Great scene.
carrying Rand, and they finally stumble out of the fog onto the top of a hill. Min stares
It
back
isn't.
and can see that the fog has a solid perimeter, as if it were just a stone wall. And then next to
Where the
Min,
demons dwell, and they do dwell well.
next
I
to
don't know
Min,
what that is, but I want to hear more of it.
Stonehenge.
Oh, okay. Dang it. I thought it was something original Adam made up. I'm like, I like this. Keep going.
Oh, I wish.
I know. So do
I
I.
don't think that's in me.
Boom, boom.
Stonehenge.
Min's next to Min, Darlin mourns the loss of her army, or the loss of his army, next to Min, Darlin mourns the loss of Caroline's army and tells Caroline she can have an army she can have an army from Tyr if she wants. In other words, he's offering her his army. Cat Swain leads them down the hill toward a road west. When they arrive at the road, they run into a man in a cart, and Cat Swain suggests they commandeer the
toothless
wagon
man
and
in a
travel
cart.
to where she is
Toothless.
staying with Lady Erlyn.
Commandeer the cart.
When I heard toothless old man, I thought,
Is it Cully?
yeah, is Collie just out here?
He's here, there,
all of a
everywhere.
sudden?
Min stops Cat Swain because she thinks it's unwise for Rand to wake around surrounded by strange Aes Sedai.
Good call.
Cat Swain
No
agrees,
kidding.
and instead they race to the Sun Palace.
Wonderful, wonderful happening there when Min described what actually took place with Rand to these Aes Sedai.
Oh yeah, she gives him the 411, not the 911, the 411.
When they reach Kyrian, Rand is whisked to the palace in a train of chaos, and then he's taken to bed and attended by Samatsu and Nyanda with Cat Swain supervising.
Whisked is a very genteel verb there.
Gentle?
Genteel.
Oh. Karuna and Bera enter and immediately acquiesce to Cat Swain's authority. Amis follows them and orders Karuna and Bera out of the room while Karuna to go see Soralia. Dashiva then enters the room and he calls in Flynn. Narishma stands in the door. Flynn then heals Rand a little further, sealing Rand off from the two wounds. Samatsu tries to interfere and Narishma stops her. Dashiva seems extremely nervous. Samatsu seems surprised and curious how Flynn achieved his results and insists Flynn teach her what he did.
Very curious. She said that she would bear his children.
Yup.
Right. Well, remember that Cat Swain said that she was possibly the greatest healer ever.
Not possibly.
So-
She was. yeah.
Sure.
So
she
this
said
is
you are.
right. This is a woman who prides herself in this, and this new kid just showed up and did something that she couldn't do in
He
all
was a
of her
new
years
kid.
of
I know,
studying.
but I
block.
found it surprising that she was just
She was
She
ready
used
to
a
give up the
rather
ghost.
extreme
laying all this
expression.
out.
Oh, I don't think so. I think she would have done whatever.
Yep.
She was ready to give up the ghost.
Min sits and looks at the men and women in the room as they all sit back and look at Rand. And Min's concerned about protecting Rand from these people when he can't protect himself right now.
Yep.
So Adam, what shook your willow?
Mine was the fact that when Min met up with Caroline Domadrid, that she thought in her head the fact that it might be Moraine, and she was a little bit surprised when it wasn't, because she thought, oh, this is a vision, one of the only visions I've ever had that hasn't come true. So I'm just going back to the fact that maybe Moraine is going to pop up somewhere, because
It's funny you
she had a
mentioned
vision
that.
at one point
That's a
that
talking
didn't actually
point.
come true.
So because Min sees somebody that looks like Moiraine, you think that Moiraine might be alive?
No, because
Oh.
what was brought up in Min's mind was the fact that, the reason I thought this is because I've never had a vision before that has failed.
Okay.
Well, it sucks that the one that's failed is that vision. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Well, I don't know. I'm still giving out hope.
Mine was
Keeping it up.
There you go.
Rand's Ta'veren influence on Harina Dintara Harina Din Togara 2 wins. And so first of all, when he comes to the boat, she says, "I speak here for the mistress of the ships. If it pleases the light, the Coromor may come aboard." So she gives away who they think he is right away.
Yep.
So that's a major bargaining chip that she just accidentally gives away. And then later on, she says, "If I do not make the bargain well, Nalesia will hang me naked in the rigging by my ankles and call the first 12 of Clan Sheodan to name a new wave mistress."
It just keeps going.
I mean, that may still happen.
Right. Yeah.
No, Min said it won't.
No, she said she's going to be punished.
She said,
but not as severely as she thinks.
Well,
this is what she thinks.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay.
Well, all she said is that she's going to be the wave mistress. So maybe that all happens.
No, she
doesn't.
She
I just said she also
gets punished as
she tells her that she will be punished, but not as severely as she thinks.
Yeah.
And it's still going to be bad.
Yeah, it's going to be bad, but not as bad as she thinks.
Well, not like this. Yeah. She's not going to be hung up by
the yardarm.
By the yardarm, right? Yeah. The yardarm. Dave, what shook your willow?
So, I do not get this. Here's my willow. How is it that the most evil thing in all of creation, sans the Dark One, can wander amongst a bunch of Aes Sedai, a.k.a. Pod and Fane, and no one notices how evil he is? Like, these are the worst Aes Sedai ever.
Well, don't forget, he was in the tower.
Right. You're just making my point even greater. How is it that this guy is able to just
he doesn't give off any...
He's an oily steak salesman.
But
everyone hates him.
But he doesn't give off any like dark wave vibes or anything.
Everyone thinks he's sinister. Everyone thinks he's no good. But everyone's just kind of like, he's evil, but we don't really have to pay attention to that evil. Especially Aes Sedai. I mean, it's just weird. It's.
I agree.
I get it. But, I mean, there's precedent for
Not
this.
only that, everyone he's around changes. Like, and people disappear around him. And highly suspicious.
It sure seems like there are people who notice, but he is... I don't think nobody's talked about him as being Ta'veren.
That's a great question.
But he has... No, I don't think he's Ta'veren because he doesn't draw, because he's not drawing Rand to himself. He doesn't draw things to himself
and
necessarily.
The pattern isn't nearly changing around him.
It doesn't seem like it, right?
Does he not? Because Rand showed up and he was there.
Or one could say
that Rand drew him to him.
Right.
Sure. Well,
it's just I just find it strange that he's amongst all these. Not only that, Cad Swain's there. Come on. Like, she's the detector of detectors. She's Sherlock frickin' Holmes.
Yeah, and
she can't figure that out.
She's there in the camp.
Right.
But it's a big camp, and who knows how often she's around him. She's not going to pay attention to the
most important person in the tent, Ryoton, and the Weasley toad next to him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be interested to see. I mean, we don't know how much. She may be around Darlin and Caroline more than she's around
We don't
Ryoton.
know how much. Agree. But that's just my thing. It's just kind of like,
Yeah, it is. It is weird.
Yeah, no, it's disappointing.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
in terms of the people that are around him not seeing that.
Somebody else that's disappointing is Elaida.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, no kidding.
So let's get into boldface Elaida here. So in chapter 32, Alviarin delivers news from Kovarla of Dumai's Wells, and it appears to Elaida that she is on the way to Swan's fate if she doesn't take action.
Upon a time.
So she offers to take Alviarin's advice, right? Which is to start Masana's plan. Is Elaida basically done?
Well, apparently we find
It
out she
seems
isn't
like
because
it.
she's making this play at the end
That's true.
to seek out.
Yeah, but it doesn't work. The woman that she assigns
Well-
to look for, she doesn't make the
It's true.
It may not
suggestion
work.
straightforward
It
enough.
may not work
Yeah,
the way
that
she
woman,
wanted to,
it
but
thinks
if
it's
she
something else
if
that
they
might come in
find
handy.
Alviarin as a dark friend, it sure did work.
Yeah, but there are other dark friends that are in, there are other Black Aja that are in the tower, so
Right.
she
We
could
don't-
just as
we don't
easily
know
stumble
any.
onto them and never get to Alviarin.
They may or they may not. Who knows? I mean,
That is true. We don't know how many are in there.
I think she's obviously in, let's say, trouble right now. But
She's
hasn't
obviously, she knows she's in trouble.
she
That's
hasn't
why
completely cowed to it. Though,
that's why she
because
takes
she's-
Alviarin's advice. She hasn't cowed to what?
Well, she's still trying to save herself. And if
Sure.
there's one thing we've learned about Elaida, she's
does
like a
that well.
cockroach, man.
Yeah, but now she's up. Now she's not only up against the fact that her stupid schemes are all coming to naught, but she's up against a Forsaken and her minion Alviarin.
She is,
Right.
but I will not ever, until she is dead in a Trolloc cookpot, eaten alive, I will never count Elaida out because she is a cockroach.
I agree with you in that in terms of that, but also, I mean, now she's asked someone else to go off, and they've decided, hey, we have to find dark friends in the towers, so maybe
Black
that
Aja
person's actually going to
specifically.
find it's Alviarin.
You know what though? I am kind of worried about those sisters. I mean, they're little
The
do they
two,
know there's a
Those two,
that there's a
Pavara and is it Coraline?
Masana's in the tower, and they don't know that, and they're going to go and tracking down dark friends, and they may wind up into her
Oh yeah,
by no
that's
fault
true.
of their own.
Well, maybe.
But
I mean, I love.
I
Every
mean, the weird
second.
thing is that if that took place, then she would be relaying that back to Elaida.
Right. I love seeing Elaida being ground down. It makes me happy. It makes
I
me
did
feel
too.
great. I don't like the fact that it's by Alviarin because we don't like her either. It's like a lesser amongst
probably
evils.
I don't know. Yeah,
And Elaida isn't
I guess
evil,
Elaida's
I don't
worse.
think. She's just horrible.
Well, I think she's evil. Well, I mean, it depends on what you mean by evil.
I mean, in this,
I
in the
mean,
sense of
following
this book.
the dark one, I
Right.
understand that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
we never
purely
thought
referring
we
to.
didn't think that.
In the beginning,
Right.
I thought she might have been a dark
Josine.
friend, but I don't
we
think
did.
she is
Yeah,
anymore.
you did. I remember that. Yeah.
And now I think she's just a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah, which is almost worse.
Right. Yes, but she's not
Yeah,
a
it's-
follower of the Dark One. She's
It's
just
Toline and
terrible.
Pavara
yeah.
who are on this wild goose chase.
I wish she was done, but I don't. I somehow just I can't count her out.
Well,
yet.
Alviarin thinks
Yeah.
she's only going to last another couple of weeks.
Alviarin might get outed though.
Mhm.
She, by who?
By
Dark
those
Friend
two that you
Seekers.
just named.
That's a real
People that are
long
searching
shot,
out
wouldn't
dark
you say?
friends.
about
Pardon me?
as long a shot as Elaida being done in a few weeks.
I will
No,
say this, Eric.
no, not as
Yes.
long of a shot.
Yes, Eric.
No,
it's
it's
a
more-
very, very, very long shot. It's
Right.
100-yard pass.
Yeah, it's more likely that Elaida that the plans that Alviarin is putting into place through Masana, or the other way around, Masana's putting in place through Alviarin, are going to come to fruition. I mean, the
Oh,
tower,
I don't want
the
to.
tower
I
is
don't
a
want Elaida.
festering wound now at this point. I mean, none of the Aja like each other.
Who would have thought that Elaida would have overthrown Swan?
Elaida, well, she didn't do it alone. She
Well-
needed Alviarin's help.
No, I don't think Alviarin was. I think
Yes,
well,
remember-
Alviarin's a dark friend, so,
Right,
But
yeah.
it wasn't just Alviarin. My whole point
No,
is
it wasn't.
my whole point is
I
we'd be dumb to count this woman out. She
I agree with
just
you, Dave, and I think
survives
that that's
everything.
probably how it's going to happen.
And I hate it because I hate
Yep.
her so much.
Well, who replaces her?
Probably Well, they would vote. I would think.
I don't think Masana would want. Alviarin is in a great place. She does not
Yes.
want, and because I think if she wanted to be, the
could've just killed her.
Amaryllis, she could have been.
They could have just killed Elaida at any given point.
So who would become the Amaryllis seat?
It almost makes more sense to keep her the Amerlin seat and have her be under your thumb the whole time.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So why would she want her to
what's
post
coming
in a few weeks?
because what's coming down the pipe is really bad news. I mean, the whole world, the tower is going to learn very soon that she sent these women off to the Black Tower that are going to get massacred.
Are
she
they?
sent more. Yeah.
Who's going to find this out?
Yeah. It seems like stuff is moving very slowly there.
But that's Alviarin's plan. That's going to keep that at bay. They're going to have to keep Dumais Wells a secret.
Well,
I don't see that happening.
No. Too many people were there.
She's going to have the rebels on her doorstep very shortly.
Well,
I mean, there's the only reason I can see her staying in place is because Masana suddenly realizes that she needs somebody there in the tower when the rebels do show up.
I mean,
that's
at this point,
only reason.
Do you think that anyone is actually going to have to replace her though? Because the tower could just crumble.
That's
right
possible.
there.
Not only that, but like everything she's doing seems to benefit the Dark One, even though she's not trying to.
Yes. Well, I mean, seems like a reason for that. She's being guided by
Well,
someone
actually, everything that she's done so far is in the long run benefited Rand. But
Well, except for that whole boxing him up and beating him to nearly death.
well, right, but that led to Dumais Wells.
Right. Well, that's kind of shattered Rand's
lucked
psyche.
out on that one.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. I mean, but the funny thing is, like everything that Elaida's done is eventually turned back on her
Because she's a bumbling idiot.
Well, because she's so arrogant,
Right.
that she doesn't do anything in measure,
And
so
she
does.
can't see
so
that she
she's
could
an
ever
such an
possibly fail.
extremist that she pushes everything she does. She pushes too far.
Yeah.
As Eric said the other day, she doesn't have the receipts for her arrogance.
Right. Got to have those receipts.
I don't
Gotta
remember
have
saying
it.
that, but sure, I'll take credit for that.
Got to have 5.
All right.
5 Santa Clauses.
I don't think she's gone though.
I really wish
Just throwing that right back.
What is gone is Nynaeve's block.
Gone.
Yeah.
Nynaeve
wind.
Unblocked. So
Incredible.
so
Incredible.
here's
The
the
incredible edible egg.
Here's
Is she
the
gonna stop
narration
tugging at her braids?
from the book. She would not die, not here, alone. No one would know where she had died. No grave, just a corpse rotting at the bottom of the river. Her arm fell with a her arm fell with a splash. What?
Her arm
Yes.
fell with the
Nope,
splash.
that is actually the wording.
Because she was floating above the water in
Yeah.
a little pocket of air.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She labored for breath. Flecks of black and silver danced in her eyes. She seemed to be looking down a tube. No anger. She realized dimly. She had kept trying to reach for Saidar, but without any belief that she would reach it or touch it now. She was going to die here after all. No hope, no land, and with hope gone, flickering on the edge of consciousness, like like a guttering candle flame, she did something she had never done before in her life. She surrendered completely.
This book has so many watershed moments, like so many big things
Well,
have
when
happened.
it's this long, it needs them.
I don't
it's-
feel like,
it's going
Which
to
other
have
ones
them.
are you talking about?
I feel
Dave?
isn't this one of the shorter books?
Oh, you mean this
It is.
book
This book.
particularly?
Yeah.
No, I don't feel like it has any more than any other book does, but this is a big
What
one. I
ones
mean,
are
this
you
is one that
talking
we've
about,
been
Dave?
building to for books.
I'm talking about this. I'm talking about Elaine's comeuppance on the Aes Sedai, which has been
Oh, true.
several books in the making. Elaine's comeuppance on the frickin' kin.
Yeah, but that's
Lan and
within this book.
Nynaeve getting married. I mean, major things are happening.
Up to this point, what did you think was blocking Nynaeve from reaching the power?
Her stubbornness.
Why did
I
you-
would guess? That's all I can really come up with. But stubborn about what I don't know.
Well, remember that.
She had a block up inside
It's
of her
control.
bottom.
I mean, the bottom line is control, and for the women's powers, you can't have
Don't
control.
forget
You have
that
to surrender.
Moiraine said that Moiraine suggested that because when she initially was using the power, she had such a stigma against it that there was some self-denial. There was something in her that didn't want to channel. So there was a suggestion that originally by Moiraine that it was this this stigma against Aes Sedai and channeling that was actually blocked. That was her problem.
That is also
Yep.
a result of control. because she
No,
wants.
I
she
agree
wants
with you,
to
Dave.
control
But
her own.
Eric is right about
Right. No,
that.
it's.
that
I think
that's how
they're.
it
I
was
think they're all
originally
tied together.
presented.
I think she wants. She
Sure.
doesn't want to be an Aes Sedai because that would be a path she never chose for herself, and she wants to control what she does for her own future and her life, and that's not part of that path. But guess what?
But that's changed. But that changed a while ago.
It did, but
It has
she's
changed.
never accepted
And I think
it.
she wants to be part of the new Aes Sedai.
Or she, yeah. But
And the
now
bigger-
she had to just.
And the bigger thing
Give it
is,
all up.
like, it is obvious that it is control. I mean, because it's when she finally
Yes.
gives up control of her circumstances and gives into
Something
what's
greater
going
than-
on
yeah.
around that she breaks through.
Boy,
And
does
of
she
course, that is how the Aes Sedai channel. They give into the flow
Yeah.
of the one power.
Like,
Unlike
oh,
the men
yeah.
who have to seize control.
Can I just say something about this?
Say something.
That it really kind of bugs me that she did that. So she just discovers the fact that, well, she wouldn't discover it until she got actually saved. But that she's getting saved by land, that's so convenient. Land. I don't know why. said
I liked land. It was
That's
better.
so
She got
It's
saved
too
by a
much
boat,
for
not
me.
land. Yeah, it was too many things too much at once.
I thought it
it's
was
too
fitting.
much.
I thought it was fitting that she
It's two things at once.
that in the time that she had to give that up, and she gained the obviously ability to channel, which is
Incredible.
massive. Like you
Yeah.
got the strongest of all the Aes Sedai can now channel.
Right.
at will.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now she can just do things.
Right. But
She's
also
going to
the
become
fact
so
that
annoying.
I
I
really
don't think
think
so.
going forward, it took land to save her to keep her alive. Once again, that's a thing beyond her control that she had to surrender to. So you've got two surrenderings going on there, whether she wanted to or not.
I think
And furthermore, these two match each other well.
It's just too convenient.
She's the emotion that Land doesn't have, and I think she's going to have to keep him alive because he just keeps wanting to kill himself. He just wants to throw him in a situation so he can die, and she's going to keep him alive. And I think that's great.
I
Adam
totally agree with that.
Yeah,
I have no
right.
problem with that.
Yeah, I could have
I
used
love
this
that.
moment
I'm
later.
glad.
I could
I
have
want
used
him
his
to be-
arrival later.
Well, she would have
I
died.
want him to
if he
be her
didn't.
No,
Warrior.
there could have been. You could have. No, Adam is not. Adam is just talking about like from a storytelling
I
perspective.
know what he's saying. He's saying
Somebody
it's a cheap,
else could have. Somebody
Right.
else could have been there to save
Yeah.
her.
But we already knew
Some
he was on
fisher-
his way to see
some
her,
fisher
to find
folk.
her.
Yeah, but we also knew he was a good long ways away. I mean, he was
It's
half
dumb.
the continent
It's
away.
a dumb thing to complain. It's a dumb thing to complain about.
No, I don't think it's dumb at all.
you
It
don't like
seemed
the
really
vehicle that he's
convenient
using.
to me too. I felt like, oh, wow, okay.
One could also
Well,
say it was
the
rather
reason-
convenient for
the-
Mugheadian just happened to be there, just happened to see Nynaeve, and just happened to shoot Balefire.
Yeah.
Oh, and by
Well,
the way,
no,
it just
Mugheadian
so
didn't
happened
just-
the pigeons flew in her way, so she didn't actually kill her.
Dave, I think a better way for me to explain how I feel about it is the fact that this is such a big deal. This is such a big deal for
Yes.
Nynaeve to go through. That on its own, I feel, should be celebrated.
And need
Because
and
we've
need
been
room
waiting
to
for
breathe.
that.
Yes,
We've been waiting for that for so long.
So it takes
and
what
now
you're
she
saying.
can
It takes
finally
away from
do
yeah.
it. And
Well,
then
we got
you're just
plenty of
throwing
books,
land,
plenty
just
of books to
showing up on
experience what
top
she
of
can
it.
do, and I'm really excited to see what she can do.
So, Adam, you think she's going to
Oh,
be
no
really
kidding. Me
annoying
too,
now?
man. What?
You think she's going to be really annoying now that she?
Yeah, I guess she's gonna be so powerful and just
Oh.
gonna be like herself. She's just gonna still be herself and be just saying, "Oh yeah, but I can do this."
So you think that this channeling ability has come with no personal breakthrough at all?
No, it 100% would have to.
I
would
would
hope-
It has.
I would hope
Yeah.
that. I would hope this is what happens inside of her head.
I would imagine
And it
so.
changes
So I would
her.
imagine she's going to be a little bit more, a little bit happier now.
I would.
Yeah, I'd hope
I
so.
would celebrate this so much if this is how this comes across.
I don't think she's going to
Yeah,
change
that
her
might help.
personality 100%.
I
mean,
do
let's
think
not
it's-
go too far.
No, it's not.
She's
I
going to
mean,
be
there's
happy
still some
because
stuff
she's
to be
married.
figured out with Lan here.
Yes, there is.
That
And-
hasn't been
Right,
solved.
Land
All
could
she's
be a
saying is-
lodestone dragging her down.
But even greater is the fact that also she has still, meanwhile, realize she still has no idea all this stuff has happened with Elaine. and how Elaine's overcome all these women. Now that the Aes Sedai are going to be subjugated to them because they're in charge. She still doesn't know that. So she's had this personal discovery. She's getting married. Oh, and by the way, you had the comeuppance for the Aes Sedai that you missed. Now, she may be a little grumpy about missing that comeuppance that they went through. I kind of would if I was her. I'd be like, dang it, I missed out on this whole thing. But those are three big things all of a sudden. If she doesn't have reason to be happy, then, oh, and by the way,
this
they
does
now
go
know
back
where the
to what
bowl
you were
wins
saying,
is.
Dave, that a lot happens in this book because a lot just happened in these
A lot. I mean, yeah.
So
all the
much.
comeuppance. She's getting married. She's broken her thing. They know where the bowl of winds now is.
Do you think the marriage is going to be during this book? Yeah.
I think it's happened and we don't know. I think we're going to come to another part where they're married and we're going to have to backtrack again.
I suppose that's possible. Sure.
We're not going to have like a forest creature marriage.
Mm-mm.
Like
I honestly feel like this is going to be.
I mean, we didn't get
town.
Perrin's marriage.
No, I think it's going to be a Jordan thing where it just happened and we're like,
Yeah.
wait, what?
That
we
would
didn't
make
share in this event.
that would make sense. I don't want to see a wedding anyway.
Right,
I mean,
right.
a wedding
He's going-
I
procession.
want these
He's going
two
to
together
town.
so much more than Perrin, and
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Exactly.
Right. This is definitely a better pairing than Perrin and Fael.
yes.
Yeah.
because
Because Perrin
because
turned into a
Perrin is-
milksop.
Yeah, but I mean, Perrin and Fael were good for a little while, and then
Right.
it just reverted.
I have a feeling
That
that's just going to be
drama.
their arc. They're going to
It
be
was
up
2
and
months
down
they
where
were
we
good?
like them and we don't.
Yeah.
We like them and we don't.
Yeah. Well, somebody
no,
we
I
definitely.
thought Dave. I really feel like it was we didn't like them, we didn't like them, we didn't like them, we liked them, we didn't like them.
Yes.
we didn't like them,
Well,
didn't
we
like
didn't like them together. We liked them individually.
Yes.
I don't know when we first met Fael.
There's
we
been a
did
lot
not
of
like
not
her.
liking Fael. Yes. Yes.
But somebody we do like is Min. So
Yes.
let's
Oh, she's my
Oh.
favorite.
see
out of
what's
them all.
Min to be
She's
here.
true
I
grit.
don't know. I like an avienda. I do like a good avienda.
Oh, me too.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not who we're
I
talking
love
about.
the
not
fact that
who we're
Min
talking
asks
about.
Min asks about Avienda.
Right.
To
That's who I
Rand,
was just
and
daydreaming
he's like,
about.
how do I
That's
compare
who we're
to
talking about.
sunsets to one another?
So in chapter 35, Min concludes that the shadow over Rand's head with the fireflies launching themselves into it is a measure of how Rand's battle against the shadow is going. So now we have a scoreboard. There's just a scoreboard that's always above
Shadow
Rand's
15. Everyone else is -5.
head.
Yeah. Is this going to be being brought up every time they're together?
No,
Bing.
because that's the thing is she doesn't really tell him about this. She doesn't talk to him about this, and he doesn't ask about it very
Hey, what's
often.
the name of this segment, by the way?
I said it was Min to be.
I just wanted to hear it again. I like it.
I do too.
It's one of my
because it was
favorites.
better than that.
The
You know what you didn't do? You didn't mince words.
one of the other Min's viewings. So Adam, you mentioned that Min had this viewing of Moiraine, which had not come true.
Correct.
So I scoured the books and the internet for this
and the
viewing.
pages.
This is the first mention of it.
We can find no
That's-
reference.
Crazy.
It's not in. It's never her viewing of Moiraine is not mentioned in the books up to this point.
That's
So
really
this
weird.
is the first time we hear about this. If speaking
Okay,
of,
so-
it feels about as convenient as Lan's appearance.
Worse.
I
to
agree
me.
with that.
Worse. Because at least we knew Lan was coming. This has come out of nowhere with no preface, nothing.
No, it has
Right.
not, because I've been calling it forever.
Yes.
It's
Adam
Moiraine.
who
Well,
wrote
Adam,
the book.
Adam, everybody who reads these books is calling. I mean, is calling for it.
Not me.
Well,
She
guess
was dead
what?
and it hurt,
I
it hurt
have
too
not
much to
finished.
think
This
about
is
it.
I mean, this viewing of Min's is of Moiraine is got to come true at some
that's
point.
really
Why?
weird.
But we don't
That's really
because
weird.
her viewings
Eric,
come true.
that's
I mean,
very
it's always the
strange
first
that
time
this,
for everything.
this was not mentioned before. That's
Yes.
so odd.
It is very odd.
7 books in.
Unless it was mentioned in a way that we can't find.
And nobody else ever found.
I'm sure if he gets
have you
to the
seen anyone
forum-
else?
if you're-
Have you seen anyone else on the internet trying to find
I
it?
mean, I spent 30 minutes
No, no, no.
myself
You go to the
trying to
forum,
For
find
you
it.
yourself,
check
yes.
the
What I'm saying
forum.
is there like some sort of subreddit or
I
something?
checked. Yes, I checked.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see
That's
anybody
crazy.
say
That's what
no.
I'm
This is
referring
never
to.
mentioned again.
That's what I'm
I didn't
referring
get no. I didn't get that. I didn't get that far.
Didn't go down the rabbit hole of that.
But we don't know what the viewing is.
No.
No,
we don't know. We don't
that's the
know
other
that it's
Sure.
Moiraine is alive and going
Right.
to do something.
It could be something else completely different.
Right.
We're automatically
I-
assuming that's what it is.
I'm just saying I'm basically basic according to Eric.
I mean,
in
and that
terms
could be
of
why
everyone has
potentially
thought
it's
about
not
this to
mentioned
this
earlier
point.
also. It's because we're
But that
automatically
is
assuming one
strange
thing
that it
and maybe
wasn't
we're going to
mentioned.
find out it's something else entirely different. And we're going to be
Yeah.
like, well, damn it,
That
that's
being
not
said,
what I wanted
anybody
to come true.
anybody who reads this this is another lifeline for
Red
them to hold
herring?
out hope that
Is it
Moiraine is
effing
still
red herring
alive.
for me?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It could be communism, Adam.
Hey,
Right. One of Min's
I still have
viewings.
hope that it'll work out, Dave.
One of Min's viewings is that Rand will almost certainly fail without the help of a woman who was dead and gone.
Landfair.
Oh, that's interesting that you go there rather than Moiraine.
Well, we were just
Yeah.
discussing Landfair. You might
Well,
not have
yes,
heard it.
but
Bring her back.
isn't that more likely to be Moiraine than Lanfear?
I'll be
he was
fine.
in love with Landfair, so I don't know.
We don't know that he was in love
We do
with
too.
Lanfear.
What's his face was?
Yes, he was.
Well, he's in his
Oh,
head,
Rand
running
was-
around.
Well,
Rand
that
was
thing in his
smitten.
head might be in love with Lanfear, but
Yeah.
we
Thing
don't
in me
we
head.
don't know that Rand
No.
is in love with
I'm in love
Lanfear.
with
No, Rand was smitten with her.
Smitten
he was,
kitten.
he was,
Sure.
He was smothered with her like a good gravy.
But there's something else to put in your there's something else we learn in chapter 35 to put in your bag of hope for Moiraine.
Yeah. It's built. You're stoking
Or
Adam's
Lanfear.
fire, Eric. You're not
or
helping.
Lanfear. Yeah.
I mean,
If this
hey,
pull of the lever only lands me with Lanfear, I'm good with that.
if one, why not two? Right.
Well, that's the hope.
Right.
That's the dream.
However, I will say, we're getting Forsaken respawned, and they're not who we want them to be. So if Lanfear's respawned, I want her to be who she was, not some other jamoke.
Well, she
Oh
wouldn't-
yeah, she's gonna show up as some sort of shrew.
some doofus. Yeah.
she's going to show
She's
up as
just
the
a
second
worm.
coming of Podden Fane.
Yeah.
A hook nose.
no,
Wait,
don't do
she's
that
old
to me.
Cully.
Don't do
Right?
that.
Yeah, she's old Cully.
Terrible. Like I was saying, I'm surprised in the last podcast that we did not get into. It's a huge thing, not necessarily the act of, but like
Them
how long books,
Well-
books. We've been waiting for something to happen between these two, and Rand was
I
to
really,
whatever,
really wanted them to comfort one another.
and it finally happens.
I
right?
had just been
Yep, it
hoping
does.
that they would.
And now the cat's out of the bag.
Well, it finally happens, and what it led to is Rand avoiding Min for 4 days and not
Company.
taking a bath.
Well,
which
Rand,
is
but we
very
also know
strange that we did not talk about it.
it is strange we didn't talk
to
about it.
Dave's, point.
There was. I
I don't know why we didn't celebrate
because
that.
we're
That
we're
makes me
so,
sad.
we're so over and done with relationships between men and women in this book that we're like
Not
jaded
only
to
that,
talk
but like
about
look
it.
Hey,
at what
I
happened.
celebrate
Look at what
anything,
happened
man.
when this happened with Rand and Avienda. Did any amazing thing happen after that?
Yes,
Oh,
their whole
that was
dynamic
so-
has changed.
It got worse.
No, that was worse.
In
because
some ways,
Avienda
for Avienda, it's
Ugh.
gotten better because now she's
no,
more
Min
truthful
is
with
Min
her
is
feelings.
doing better than Avienda at this point. I'm going to say.
I think Min is doing better
Well,
than
Min,
Avienda.
Min is doing
yes.
better because
Min and
is
Rand
not
are doing
tied
better
to,
than Rand and Avienda.
Min doesn't have the sister toe that Avienda did with Elaine.
Correct. Yes.
So
Oh, true.
she was dealing with that.
Slightly
and then
less
the
complicated.
societal stuff that the
That's a
Aiel
very good
have in
point.
general. Min is not dealing with Rand being her king, so to speak, and Avienda is. And then the fact that she's got the wise ones who are using her as a spy. Min is a totally solo entity who can just do her own thing.
Very good points, Dave.
So, but also, they're just also two different personalities. And,
I don't make me choose between Min and Avienda.
well, we're not going to have to. Because they're all going to, we already know he's going to have three, and we know the three. Now that Min has
Well-
slept with Rand, she's the third officially,
well,
in my opinion. She's,
Elaine
I think
hasn't
that
yet.
was. I mean, I'd reached that conclusion.
right, we
like
did, but now we
books
got
ago.
that. We got the evidence. Finally.
Oh no, I was trying. We did, but I was also trying to throw some Hail Marys in there to like.
right, right. Someone's
Maybe
going to.
some-
It's Lanfear.
I thought-
Lanfear's going to
I
come
thought
in.
maybe it was gonna be Moiraine for a while. So
Right.
Well, there was a period of time where it could have
Could have
been.
been,
But
yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I'm glad, and I
to the
hope
point that she checked it out.
I hope that Rand can just get over himself. I don't think he will.
Having the conversation with her that he had might be a step toward that.
I think it is. And the fact that he really listens to her. He really does. And I think that conversation hopefully will sink in.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. Because he trusts her, and more than Elaine and more than Avienda, because I mean, if you think about it, all the way back to book 2, when Rand is dying and Lanfear shows up and confronts the two of them, and she specifically says to Min, he's mine. Min's been there since the very beginning.
Well, not.
Yeah. Well,
the other thing is that Elaine gets exasperated very quickly and insulted very easily, and so doesn't communicate very well with Rand.
Do you think Elaine does?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's changed a lot, though. We're seeing Elaine really grow.
Well, we don't see. I mean, Elaine hasn't been around Rand in months.
I mean Elaine's character. In general,
yes, but
in terms of being with him. How long did we see them?
We haven't had a ton of them together.
Not a lot of time together, but but her dynamic with Rand is a lot more like a junior high or high school girl and boy with each other, where each of them is struggling for control in the situation, as opposed to just letting it be what it is.
Yeah, exactly, Dave.
And Min does a very good job of communicating with Rand.
She's just happy to be there.
And not getting so worked up and exasperated that she can't think clearly and just resorts to kicking and pulling of hair and insulting.
Well, yeah, she doesn't. Once again, she doesn't have any of the entanglements the other two women have. She doesn't have a kingdom she's got to worry about. She's just there with Rand.
Well, not only that, but more importantly, what you mentioned before is the personalities. She is a more laid back, more down to earth,
just a normal person.
She wears
an incredible
pants.
gift.
She doesn't have any.
She
has no airs.
Yeah, no, she's as real gets.
Rand has plenty of airs, and we got a little bit more of Rand in these chapters. A little bit more. We got Rand and Min. We got Rand and Cadsuane. We got Rand and Pod and Fane. We got Rand with many of the principles of this story. Certainly not all of them, because there are so many. But
I'm glad you mentioned Rand and Min, Rand and Cadsuane. We kind of talked about this. I think this scene with Cadsuane has really altered for me at this point, because I have not liked her at all. And it was touching to me in as much as she can be touching, and it altered my viewpoint on her a little bit when she had that scene where Rand is dying, let's say.
Right.
And she says, she's reassuring Min, and she says specifically to Rand, she's talking to Rand, don't die on me, boy, yet, all that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And she says to Min, I'm not going to hurt him any more than is necessary, basically. But she acknowledges that she is going to hurt him, which I find interesting. And that as much as I don't like Cadsuane, excuse me, I'm sorry. I appreciate her honesty, even though like Varen, we don't know what she's about or what her honesty means. But I like that scene. I like the fact that she is somewhat tender towards him and caring. Obviously, we know he serves a purpose in whatever this arc is and that scheme that she has towards him, and we know he's important for the end of the world and all that sort of thing. But I really liked that scene in that moment because she was caring, and I didn't just feel like she was caring because he's a necessary cog in the wheel, which he is.
Why did you feel that way?
I don't know. The scene felt, I can't quantify why I felt that way. I just felt that way because it felt different than every interaction we've had with her before to this point. It was something completely out of the character we've seen for her to have that conversation, to be so forthright with Min, and to be so whatever towards Rand. It just felt like it just felt different. And I hope it is once again a stepping forward point for how their dynamic is going to go. I hope when Rand wakes up from this that he finds out that she saved his life, and maybe he'll be more open to her, or maybe their dynamic will slightly change. I don't necessarily think it will, but I kind of hope that it does. I don't know. Something about that scene felt really important to me. Adam, I don't know what you thought about it.
No, are you talking about this can be cut out because I just got back to this. But are you talking about the healing scene with Rand?
No, I'm talking specifically when Cadsuane and Min and Rand were in the mist.
Yep.
And she was saying, I won't hurt him any more than necessary, that spot.
Yeah. I I think it was great of her. I think that this was actually a moment that she proved herself to be
right,
kind of very impressive. I mean, she comes into these scenes and everybody's kowtowing to her, but at this point, it seems like she learned of the situation and she kind of took care of business. And it seems like she's a bit concerned about him, as
right.
she should be.
Well, this is the first time that I can think of where she's taken input from somebody and changed her mind.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very good point.
True.
Because her initial suggestion is to take Rand back to her place. Which makes sense. There's some serious work that needs to be done because Samitsu basically says he's going to die. So there's some serious urgency. So it makes sense to take them back. But Min's point is very, very cogent, which is that Rand is not going to react well waking up and being surrounded by a bunch of Aes Sedai. He is seriously damaged by his experience inside the box.
The box, yeah.
As we saw when he meets with the sea folk.
Yeah, it's a vulnerable moment, and the vulnerability is received well. Well, it's a vulnerability that Rand doesn't know he's being vulnerable because unconscious, but Cadsuane responds correctly. Like you said, she takes it.
Yeah.
She's like, well, okay, yeah, we can't do that. Like, it's just,
right.
And everyone is appalled,
but
utterly
also,
appalled. And I hope that
Min
changes. Go ahead.
Is the best.
Yes, Min is the best. And that's like, I hope now that expose or that exposure of what happened to them makes these Aes Sedai understand why Rand is treating them the way that he is right now, especially.
Well, I think Cadsuane is beginning to appreciate that for sure. I don't know how much weight that's going to carry moving forward because I also suspect when this moment is over, she's going to revert back.
I hope they all don't revert back. I have a feeling
don't forget that the way that she treats Rand is part of a ploy also.
Like a ploy or a plot?
A ploy. She is deliberately trying to
do something,
goad him and push him.
To what end, though? We don't know.
We don't know.
Get back to the tower, which is going so great.
This is where no, I don't think she wants to be in the tower. This is very different than Varen. This is where these two are different.
Well, Varen does. If Varen provides any direction at all, it's really indirectly.
Really hands off.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, because Varen's just going.
Though she does guide events. She does every once in a while. She will guide
she's
things.
She's a puppet
but
master, but
she's like
not...
Moghedien.
Right.
Except not. She's a little more direct than Moghedien.
Yeah. So I like that. I liked that. Rand has a lot. I really like the interaction with Rand and Caroline. I don't know.
Me too.
Ta'Veren at work, perhaps. Not in the way that he necessarily thought it was going to be, but the fact that she was so open and direct with him, and she was honest, just in the fact of, hey, I'm fine with Elaine being on there. It's so long, but my problem is with you. And I like the fact that she's so direct with him. I like the fact that even when they were going through the sword fights at the end, Darlin was still there.
They're going through the sword fights.
They're going
They're
through
fighting
the
with
sword
sardines.
fights. But the
Our
sardines
children
are
are
the
going
fights.
through the sword fights.
I like the sword fight idea that at least like Darlin's still stuck through it. I mean, he's obviously sticking through because Caroline's there, but those two could have taken off and left Rand alone, but they didn't.
Yep.
And I think
Yeah,
that's
that's
also
mostly
important.
Caroline, I think.
Well,
But-
right. She may be pulling him to her, but I just there's a lot of dynamics here that I think we're seeing importance for, especially because this guy's gonna be a king of something. So
Min can't wait to tell Rand about it, but
right,
it might be
there's a
while.
lot that's I think we're setting a lot of future.
Doesn't
up
it
here.
feel? Yes. Doesn't it feel like Caroline and Darlin at some point are going to be on Rand's side, even though they are standing against him now?
It
It feels
that's what I
like
think.
they've
I would
found
hope
something
so.
in common.
Yes, they've
And
got
I
some sort
really
of
hope
common
so.
ground.
That's why the statement by Darlin that he feels like they're sort of stuck with doing what they're doing now is so important, because what it signifies is that there's some wiggle room there,
right.
and that if things were a little bit different, he might be amenable to working with the Dragon Reborn. And now the Dragon Reborn has just saved his butt.
Right, and he saved him.
Sort of. I mean, it was mostly Cadswain that saved them, but he did use that balefire, which Cadswain quickly told him never to use again, which Moiraine has told him not to use again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He listens well.
He could have used something else.
The thoughts of Colivir still haunt him.
She's a woman.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, that's still bothering
He's
him.
never going to get over that.
And then we got this interesting thing in chapter 33 where Rand mentioned that the reason that he is so disturbed by the Aes Sedai that he's captured is because he is afraid of what he might do to them if he's pushed too far. Because
He's not going to do anything to them.
he is so enraged against them that he knows that if a certain button is pressed or a certain series of buttons is pressed, he might go nuclear on them, and he's worried about that.
I think he's worried about that, but I don't think it would ever happen. I just don't think he's.
Well, he's worried
Unfortunately,
about it. I mean, he's
worried about it.
It's the thing that's
that did
causing him the
happen-
greatest concern with them.
If that day, like Adam was saying, if that day happened, the entire arc of this entire series would completely change.
Well, the
I kind of
thing,
hope it does.
the thing that's going to alleviate it is he's already considering loosening some of their bonds in order to give them a little bit more freedom, and that will ease things up, I think.
Agreed. I think we need. This is going to sound really bad. Like Rand needs someone else in his life to kill women. He does.
You're so worried about this. This is like your constant. This is like your theme.
Well, we got a bunch of
Is
very powerful
Rand needs to be
Forsaken women
willing
that
to
Rand
kill
won't
women.
kill.
Yeah,
Do you
I
think
know.
It's Dave's theme?
He
the
brings
women.
it. He brings it
Kill
up
the
every
women.
couple of
really-
podcasts.
It's really important. I mean, who's killed the women thus far?
Well,
Moiraine.
it is brought up with Rand, and it's brought up with all the Tavir and how much they don't want to do that.
Right. We got
well,
like
the Two Rivers boys specifically.
Yes,
well,
yes.
Matt has.
Oh,
It
we're
haunts him,
not-
but he's done
Well,
it.
they've all
Queen
done
may
it.
or may not be.
Well, no, I don't know
including
about
Otto
Perrin.
I don't
but-
think Perrin has.
Um,
They all have done it.
No,
meaning
Perrin has
just
mentioned
Matt. Just Matt. Matt's the only one that's killed a woman.
Oh, yeah.
What is
That
this
makes sense.
moment with these statuettes? I mean, I'm glad that we know now
know what they
we
are.
now know that Rand has the statuettes from Rhydian, which are like super
Yeah, we've
powerful.
seen them before.
But what is this weird freaking moment where he's turned into Gollum and is like they're tempting him? I guess we do have an understanding that the one
was alone
power
for a
is a
week.
draw like a drug, but I didn't need that scene.
Oh, I didn't care
Me
too
either.
much about it.
It's just too much like Tolkien for me. I was just like, dude, no, we don't need this scene. We don't need this
I don't
moment
want-
here.
I don't want to see Rand like that.
It's not it's not even that for me. I mean, you know,
I mean, we've already seen Rand like
it's
that.
good at
Right.
I don't think we've seen Rand like this.
Whenever he
Right.
we've seen the women like this. If they can't draw too much, if they want to draw more, they want to draw
Not
more.
like this. We've seen them deal with the temptation while they're channeling, yes, but not in this creepy manner.
Yeah, no,
I
he's
didn't
just
take it
saying
that
that's
far.
mine, that's mine, that's
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah, he's got a mantra that he's reciting around.
We know
them.
he also is potentially struggling with madness, so there's that.
Well, no, Dave, that's been solved.
Right.
Podden Fane is now using the last name using the name of Geralt Mordith, and Mordith was the name of the advisor at Eridol who corrupted the city.
Another point to my whole
Right, Catswain should be familiar with the name Mordith.
Catswain would hear the name Mordith and be like, "Hi, red flag,"
Right,
Just
because she knows everything.
And that coupled
this
with
whole thing upsets me.
with the extreme change. Rioton's attitude toward Rand has not changed. It's just gotten worse.
It's like a roller coaster. Yeah.
No. I don't think he ever liked Rand.
No,
so-
what I'm saying is he's going down the deep dive of the roller coaster. It's
Right.
gone nowhere good. How can you? The name Mordith has to ring bells everywhere.
Yes, it should. But maybe he's not using the last name all that often.
But everyone else knew him.
No. Caroline knows his last name, but maybe nobody else is really familiar
I mean,
with it.
we're putting a lot of maybes in there. You could be right, but it's.
But I mean, think about how many people that you're around at work whose last names you don't know.
Okay, but I am not Cadswain who wants to find everything else about everything else.
That's true.
The other Aes Sedai maybe.
It is odd. But that being said, like, yeah, this is a bad move. Like, that's a huge. He needs some creativity. Is what he needs.
Why? It seems to work for him.
Right. It's this bold use of his past names.
It's like no one can stop him.
It's just so funny.
No,
Ugh.
it's not funny.
No,
it's
it
really
isn't funny.
annoying
It's
because
really-
this
I
guy
hate
is
him.
just a cartoon character in these books.
He is. He
He just pops
is.
in and,
I mean,
and just
What
I'm this-
cartoons is he in?
You know
well,
what he is?
no.
He's the entire bad guy family of Game of Thrones, where they stole everybody and put it into him.
He's not in Family
Well,
Guy.
he's in Akira.
Right.
That's who he is.
Oh
Yes.
man, I hate him so
Yeah.
much.
Maybe
Yeah,
he's
it's-
in. Maybe he's in manga. But
The funny thing, Adam,
he's
is
not.
you keep wondering where he's been, and every time he shows up, when you wonder that, we get so mad because of what he does.
Yeah, he. The
so
thing
stop
that annoys
wishing
me
for
the
him
most.
to reappear.
Here, spoiler. The thing that annoys me the most is I'm not doing it this week, but the fact that he probably should be the one to level up because every time he shows up, he's just like, remember
Well,
me?
Eric's
Guess
crazy
what I
little
can
laugh.
do?
Yeah, but the crazy thing is he's barely in this.
I
He's
know.
barely in
He's
it.
in
He
it enough
disappears
almost
as
to
soon as
alter
we
the
see him.
entire
And then he
series.
pops out of the fog and disappears right back into it.
Yeah.
I'm so annoyed by it.
And better
I'm
yet-
so annoyed by it.
Better yet, I can guarantee you the fog is probably scared of him and won't touch him.
Well, it's
You don't
the
think
same,
he
is it the same
created
stuff?
the fog?
Is it
No.
the same?
I think
it
I think the
Mashadar?
fog.
Is this
I think the fog is probably a
Mashadar?
pocket of evil. I think that's what we're dealing with here. Is a bubble of evil.
Do you think this fog is Mashadar?
That's really coincident.
No,
That'd be a terrible.
I don't think he. I don't think he has that much power. If we're giving him that much power, no. I think we're dealing with two different crazy coincidences. I think that's just a pocket of evil that's happening here.
But this is like a pocket of evil that we've never seen before. The pockets of evil that we've seen up to this point are inanimate objects becoming animated, or people.
This pocket of evil, I'm confused about what was actually showing up half the time.
Well, it's
The fog.
basically Mashadar.
That's
It's not
what I was
because
asking.
Yeah.
no,
is this
it's not.
Mashadar?
It's not because
It's
if you
like-
touch Mashadar, you die.
right.
Mashadar light.
This they could.
So these
yeah,
people
right.
went into the fog.
Right. That's why I think it's just a pocket of evil. I think it's a bubble of evil that just happens to strike her. Now, could it be drawn to him?
I thought it
Sure.
was. I didn't think it was something that Podden Fane created, but I think he had something to do with it.
I think it might have
Well,
been drawn to
if-
him.
Dave is saying it's just a bucket of evil that just could also be Rand.
A bucket of evil.
Bucket of evil.
Yeah. A bucket of evil.
Like from
a pocket, I know.
the Sorcerer's
It's
Apprentice.
in the coin pocket.
Yeah, it's in the coin pocket. Exactly. I love that keeps coming back up.
It's
It was
crazy.
astute.
Yeah,
we
but-
don't. He pops in and out. He pops in just enough to give Rand this massive Well,
That
not massive.
dagger's
This
so
tiny
big.
I'm
little
so
cut,
annoyed by
which
this
becomes
character.
something awful.
I'm just so annoyed by him that he's
So now,
And not only that,
he's
how
just
crazy is it
massive.
that he just happens to strike the spot where the other injury is?
He knew
So-
exactly where to aim
did
it
know
because he's
exactly
some
where.
sort of primordial.
Well, no, I think it is. He can sense evil, and that's a bubble of evil in Rand's side.
Oh,
So
that's
he's
possible.
drawn to
But the
that.
other interesting thing is,
now it's two bubbles.
it's also possible that if he had cut him anywhere else, he would have died.
The evil
Because
fought the evil.
right, because these evils aren't aligned.
No.
So
Even
now
though
they're
he
bad
has
luck
both those
potting
evils in
thing.
him.
so now I think Flynn said that they might be fighting each other,
Mm-hmm.
and that might be the
Yeah,
reason
He did
Rand's
say that.
alive.
Yeah. He sealed them away from each other.
That's very
Well, no,
strange.
that's
that
how
that
he
would be
healed
bad
him.
luck
Right.
by Mordeth.
Yeah.
He thought he got him by doing that, but he really just created a battle.
The great thing
within
is,
Rand's body.
as much evil as Mortis sows, he still keeps failing. He still keeps failing when it comes to Rand.
Well, he fails
can't
in
quite
his
kill him.
ultimate goal, but he's sure creating problems
Oh,
for him.
he is for
if
sure.
Rand just dies and the rest of the books continue, that would be very
Can
strange.
you imagine?
The other thing is, like, there's 100,000 gold crown bounty out
100,000.
on this man's head, and nobody is turning him in.
I guarantee you
Is
that,
that
amount.
for real? Did that actually happen?
Oh, I
Yes,
don't-
he's
I don't-
mentioned it before.
He's mentioned there was a bounty. I think that
Yeah.
number just doubled. It's now gone up to 200,000.
I mean, but
Can
if
we have some
100,000
side
doesn't
quests?
get it done,
I want some side quests about the folks that are going after this
Right.
guy.
the hunters,
then
the
ending
hunters
up
of the
in
Mordeth
stew.
instead of the
Yeah.
hunters of the Horn, the
'Cause
hunters of the
they're bad.
Mordeth,
oh man,
the Pot on
They
Fane
should not
Seekers.
be getting paid.
You know what that is? That's a side book series, the Pot on Fane
Yeah,
Seekers.
that'd be great.
so this is a nice.
We
This
could write
is
5 books
this
about
is
it.
an easy segue into who was your Coplin of the week, Dave.
Oh, it's Elaida. Much as I hate Mordeth, it has to be Elaida because
But she's in trouble.
she is.
She didn't do
But
anything. Well, she did.
I just can't deal with
She
her
did a lot to get
delusion.
to
You
that
Like
just-
point.
her,
she got undiluted this week.
yeah, but like,
You just don't like her. That's fine.
yeah, I just,
Anytime she appears, you relish the opportunity to Coplin her.
I wish she was gone.
Well, you might get your
Eric
wish.
is right about that.
Well, I
You
mean,
really
like I was
don't
saying,
like
it was tough choices this week. I had Mordeth and I had Elaida in the same thing, and then
Tough kitty
by the
puss.
way, the guy we haven't even really talked about, Torum Rioton. I think he's gonna be major problems going forward. Like
Seems
that
like it.
guy.
This is an introduction of a new antagonist.
Yeah,
He just skirted off into the woods.
yeah, and yeah.
Well, and he's got Pod and Fane as an advisor.
Well, not anymore. I don't think
I mean, he could.
he could. Yeah, I mean,
but he would need to remove himself from the camp
He'd
because
have a whole
now
lot of
Caroline
explaining to
and
do.
Darlin know who Pod and Fane is.
right
so
now, yeah, especially. So that's what I'm going with.
mine was Pod and Fane.
Hmm.
There you go.
I mean, he almost killed Rand.
For the brief spot that he's in it, he's the worst of the chapters.
He almost
Well,
killed
he could
Rand.
have-
Yeah.
He could have killed Rand.
Yeah.
I'm still saying that maybe
That's true.
Rand doesn't
It is
show up.
possible that Rand still dies in the next
possible, Pig.
chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Like Adam
or
said, that would be a
just-
very strange
or
book series going
Hawkwing takes
forward.
over Rand's body because of that vision.
Right. Not
Well, but-
Hawkwing.
Not
Not
Loose
Hawkwing.
Theron.
Theron's disappeared on Rand though. Theron
Yeah, I know,
won't
but he
talk
could
to
just
Rand
show up
anymore.
and
Right.
be like, knock, knock, knock.
Right. Well, maybe that's the dream. That's
Oh,
it, Adam.
nobody's home.
We're on to the two are merging
I'll
into
just
one.
Move into this
Yeah,
living
exactly.
room.
That's what I'm saying.
There you go.
Rand would thought it was no big deal.
Oh, that'd be a weird book series.
Who
going
is your
forward.
Coplin, Adam?
Mine is Rand
Oh,
because he
Rand.
because he just mentioned. Oh, by the way, that's Pot and Fane. I have this big of a bounty out on him, and he doesn't just kill him. He uses his balefire later on. Why not just use it on him when you recognize him?
Remember,
Oh, right then
remember,
and there.
there is the mention. Rand, don't pull any of your crazy tricks. There are a bunch of red Aja here.
yeah.
Oh, F that noise.
Adam
Are you
wants him
kidding me?
to
He
fight 'em
knows how
all.
bad this guy is.
That's true. Like almost
He
being
could have
killed by the Reds is
taken him
almost
out
worth taking him
and
out.
dealt with
Yeah,
whatever,
but he wouldn't
whatever
be there at
happened.
the end for the final
Well, that's
battle.
okay. We got loose Theron. Theron's going
He
to come
got
in and take
stabbed
over.
Theron is
instead.
in Rand.
No.
Well, I mean,
Hey,
the
he
result
got out of a
it
box
is he
before.
got stabbed by a bad blade.
It's a bad man.
A blade you don't want to be stabbed by.
I think yeah. I mean, I get why
I get
you
it.
want him to do something,
Yeah.
but I think Jordan did a pretty good job of putting him in a box and explaining why Rand can't just go nuclear on this whole tent.
See, you know what would have been much better is if he had some of his
he coulda
Aes Sedai
thrown
toadies
he coulda
there.
thrown a blade at him.
Right.
If he had his Aes
He
Sedai
could have had
toadies there, and
someone
would
try
like
to get him.
capture him.
Well, he had Cadswain there.
No, Cat seems not one of his toadies.
No, but she could have done something about. Well,
She
she could have
won't take his-
tried to do
yeah.
something about Pod and Fane.
Everyone could have said that's a bad man. Let's get him. It's ridiculous.
But no one knows he's a bad man.
Leveled up, Dave.
All right. I'm going with someone that you would not suspect I'm going with. I'm going with Dahmer Flynn.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, because he
Wow, I
saves
like
the
it.
day, and he's a wanted man by Samitsu, and he just does
For very-
something that no one has ever seen or done before, and not only that, he's an Ashaman doing that. Like it took, one of the outcasts.
Well, no one
be
has
able
seen
to
or
do it.
done this before because
Yep.
nobody like Rand has existed before.
Yeah. So, I think I thought that was very cool that it was one of the Ashaman,
Yep.
and hopefully
I agree with that. That's a healing power by the men.
I could have just gone with
big
the
old
Ashaman
learning
in
there.
general because I thought it was awesome also how Narishma kept stopping them from getting over to Rand. But yeah,
I like the variety. I'm going with Nynaeve.
that's who I otherwise would have gone with.
I mean, this is, as you mentioned earlier, this is one of the huge moments in the book. We had conversation episodes and episodes ago about like if Nynaeve ever breaks through this block, she's going to be incredibly dangerous
She's Iron Man now.
because
Oh, I can't wait.
the only other person in this world that's more powerful than her is Rand.
Yeah.
Yep.
That we know of.
Right.
Yeah.
Granted, the way these books go, somebody else more powerful could appear
Well,
any chapter now. but
Pod and Fane might be more
Well,
powerful than
I mean,
Well,
is she more
yeah, she's my-
powerful than one of the Forsaken?
she's more powerful than Moghedien.
Yeah.
Well, Morsagideon's one of the weaker of the Forsaken.
Right.
So,
That's true. I doubt she's more powerful than Lanfear.
yeah. Who's
And they're
dead.
right.
Or maybe let's say Demon Dread or one of those guys, but-
Sure. I mean, they're it's very possible that there are other Forsaken.
She's
who are
easily the
more
most powerful of
than
the
her.
Aes Sedai for that matter. So yeah.
Oh well, we know that. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think on a larger scale than that. She's probably more powerful than some of the Forsaken.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's say that.
Far less
Who
training,
knows
which
now
is
though
crazy.
that she is so powerful that
Yeah.
she can actually control it. So
Adam, who leveled up for you?
man, she is
Ah.
forming a real relationship with Rand, which we actually
Yes.
have not seen before.
We have 3 different picks. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the choice of Min. She definitely, I mean, she gets through to Rand in a way that
Yep.
Avienda couldn't and really
She's
didn't
so
try.
confident. She's very self-aware. She understands what's going on in this.
It's
relationship
interesting.
with
Like
Rand.
if with Min, Elaine, and Avienda, like I feel like if I was Rand, I'd be most attracted to Avienda, but Min is the one you want the
I
relationship
can't
with.
argue with that.
Min is the one you want the relationship with, but Elaine
Yep.
is the one that's also good. Like that's why he's in love with all the 3 because they each bring something completely different to the table.
Who knows with Elaine? Elaine
I
has
think
just
Elaine
been
brings all
here,
the stuff
like-
that he's going to need to be a ruler. Like she
I
knows
agree
all
with
that stuff.
I agree with that. I'm
You're
just saying
making
we haven't had that much
very
time with it.
pragmatic arguments for emotions. I don't
Yeah,
think
we
I don't
haven't had that
know
much
that.
time
Have
with
we
it,
met?
and it's nice. I feel like here, this time with Min that we're going through with Min and Rand, it's very big healing moments.
Yeah, he right now in this
comforting
time,
with
that's
each
what he
other.
most needs.
It's great.
Yeah.
Join us for episode 18 when we finish The Crown of Swords with
Yeah,
chapters
forgot to mention
37
we're at the end here.
Mr.
to 41.
Schwartz.
No epilogue for this book.
Ah.
Until
Oh, wow.
then, may
I don't
you
know who
rest
is
in the
Mr. Sword.
Creator's hand.
May you know good hunting, young bull, and cheese to give you many a cub.
Doviendes et tovies again.